Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jose, but you can call me Juice, and I hope y'all are having a great motherfucking planty day. So today I am finally doing an updated houseplant tour, mostly because I'm about to move out at the end of this month. So y'all are gonna see all the plants as they are right before I move. So if you see my last houseplant tour, there's definitely gonna be tons of growth updates. But before we get into that, if you didn't already know, I'd be uploading plant content here every Wednesday and Saturday. So if you'd be looking for that, I got you, and you should definitely check out my other videos. And if you already have, why not click that subscribe button? You're already here. Also, don't forget to leave me a like or a comment. I'd really appreciate it, and it would also really help my channel out. Also, please ignore my busted nails. But anyways, let's just get right into the plants. So this tour is just gonna be really chill. I'm literally just gonna take the camera along with me and show you guys all my plants. So this video is probably gonna be a pretty decent length. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. All right guys, so let's get started in my office area. Also, I'm sorry, but there be construction going on outside right now. All right, we're gonna start with the plants around my desk. So first up, sorry y'all, that is so loud. All right, first up we have my peperomia scandens variegata, and she is so beautiful, so lush. When I first put her here, she was a lot leggier, but she has given me tons of new growth. She is a little thirsty right now though, and I really want to repot this girly pretty soon because y'all, there's freaking a lot of fungus growing up in here. I don't know if y'all can see that back there, but yeah, it's like all throughout the soil. And I'm pretty sure the fungus isn't like harmful to the plant unless it's like out of control. So I think I will be repotting her into just some fresh soil. I don't know if I can like completely get rid of the fungus. If y'all know how to do that, let me know in the comments. But other than that, she's doing really well. She only gets light from one side though, so the back of her is really bare. We just see the front of her anyway, so it doesn't really matter. All right, right above her, I have this little begonia baby that is actually from a mother plant that I'm gonna be talking about in a little bit. So I'm not gonna talk too much about the baby plant. And then right behind her, I have my lucky bamboo, otherwise known as a dracaena sanderiana, I think. But yeah, I've had this since like the start of my collection, and she's giving me some cute new leaves. As y'all can tell, all the lighter green stuff is new, and I just have her living completely in water in this Dutch Bros cup, so there'd be lots of roots growing up in here. And yeah, she's just, you know, vibing, living her best life. And then right next to her, I have my one and only snake plant. I'm pretty sure it's reclassified as some sort of dracaena. I found myself getting more and more attached to this plant as the days pass by because it is growing a lot and starting to get bigger, because I did buy this as like a little baby at Lowe's. And I know they're like super common or whatever, but they kind of remind me of my home back in Mexico, because literally on this trail that me and my dad like to walk on, you can just find like a bush of snake plants, and it's just like so pretty and so cute to look at. So I think it would just be really cute to have a really big pot of this and just let it fill it up. But yeah, she's super cute. I have her in a clear pot so you could see the roots growing in here. And then right next to her, we have my maranta kerchoveana. And y'all, I love this plant so much. She's putting out a new leaf right here, and this was her newest leaf on this side. So basically, I started this plant as just a little baby that I got at Pistol's Nursery in Portland, Oregon. She basically looked like these cuttings I put in here. And she had been sitting on top of my desk for a couple months, and then like out of nowhere, she just started giving me these huge ass leaves, and I was just, oh, almost knocked this plant over. And I was just so proud of her and so happy with her. She is starting to kind of downsize on the leaves, so I don't know if that's just because I repotted her recently with the cuttings, or if that's just what they end up doing after they grow a certain length. But regardless, I'm still really in love with this plant, and I can't wait to watch it get bigger and bigger. Right next to her, we actually have my friend Leann's plant. So some of these plants you're gonna see are just plants that I'm babysitting for her. But yeah, I've just been been taking care of this plant for a couple of months. Did I already say what it was? It's commonly known as a pothos, but if y'all didn't know, what y'all know as pothos aren't really pothos. This is actually just an epipremnum. It's just a green epipremnum, you know, nice and simple. And then on the other side, I have this bird of paradise, which honestly, y'all, I think I'm gonna get rid of this because it hasn't done anything for a really long time, and part of that is my fault, part of that is my cat's fault. So when I first got it, I was really in love, but like, it's just always grown super slow for me. And she was putting out a new leaf, but my cats freaking kept biting the tip off of it. If my camera will freaking focus. So yeah, this leaf never opened and it's been here for like months. And also I've just been kind of neglecting her, so that just adds on to it. And like I said, I'm probably gonna get rid of her and give her to somewhere else who will, you know, appreciate her more. And then right next to her, we have my begonia. I'm not entirely sure what kind of begonia this is. I used to think it was a Benigo pink, but the new leaves don't really get that pink. I mean, she a little pink right there, but like as it matures, it just goes back to like this silver. So if anyone can ID this begonia for me, that would be really nice. But yeah, if you didn't know, you can grow cane begonia up trellises. So hopefully one day she will be all the way to the top. Please ignore this mess over here. This is where I just saved like a bunch of plastics and stuff to reuse for plants. But I almost forgot to mention this plant right here that is right next to my begonia. And this is just a regular degular green heartleaf philodendron. And this one is also my friend Leann. And she's doing super good. She's super happy. And yeah, she just chills up here in the corner, and I honestly love where she lives. She's the only other plant over here in this corner. All right, now we're over at the windowsill where I do have a couple more plants. This right here is just to keep my cats away from messing with my plants. But first up, we have my beautiful euphorbias who I love so much, and they love this window so much as well. They have honestly grown so much for me in this apartment, and yeah, I just love them so much. This is my euphorbia trigona rubra, and I got this plant in San Francisco, so she be from out of state, and she's doing really freaking good. Literally all this new growth you see from this main stock is brand new in this apartment. Again, I apologize for the freaking construction going on over there. Real disrespectful. That's been going on for months, y'all, too. So I'm glad I'm moving. And I'm also just pulling them away from the window because it's kind of hard to see with the backlighting. But this is my euphorbia trigona green, and I got this one from Pistol's Nursery in Portland, Oregon. And she's also doing freaking well, and she's really tall. Right next to her, I have my Christmas cactus, who just recently started growing for me not that long ago. Oh my god, y'all. She was not growing for the longest time, but she finally... Oh my god. Okay, hopefully I don't keep getting interrupted, but as I was trying to say, she was not growing for me for the longest time. And the main reason she wasn't growing for me is because my cat freaking knocked her down when I first got her, and she just went into shock. Right next to her, I have my Easter cactus, and here you can actually see like the main difference between these two different like seasonal jungle cactus, but basically just like the shape of the petals. As you can see, these ones are more smooth, and the Christmas cactus has like these little spikes on them. I've had this one longer, if you couldn't, you know, already tell or assume. And she is doing pretty well for the most part. She has been giving me a ton of new growth, but lately I feel like I'm kind of having a problem with two of these. Maybe y'all can help me out. Basically, I feel like I've noticed that parts of the plant are like having trouble uptaking water. Like as you can tell, it's all wrinkly and looks really thirsty. Like I watered these plants recently. I don't know why they're not uptaking water. Like other parts of the plant are having no problem, you know, getting the water they need. If the problem keeps happening, I think I am going to repot these girlies because I just want to see what's actually going on in the soil. And then right behind them, I have two little babies. Right here, I have a tiny little baby burrow's tail succulent that I grew from a cutting. The main leaf that I, propagated the baby from died off. So now we just have this tiny little baby down there, and we'll see if it continues to grow or not. And then right next to her, I have this stapelia. I don't know exactly which kind, but these are the cacti that are able to, you know, put those really stinky flowers out. But yeah, I also got these as just 2 little cuttings, and I think they just started rooting actually, so that's super exciting. They be cute, and hopefully I'll have an actual full-on plant someday. Here's another plant that lives in my living room. It is just my ZZ plant, and she is just a little baby. I definitely think she's not the happiest in this spot, because as y'all can see, we got some dying leaves back here. Yeah, this plant has not grown for me in like over a year, so I think I just need to give her more light. Hopefully once I move, I can find a better spot for her and she can actually like start growing and thriving for me again. Y'all can get a glimpse into my living room. Y'all can see my cat back there. Oh my god, her eyes. Now we're about to head out to my really cluttered balcony that has just like a bunch of random plant stuff and like some of my boyfriend's stuff as well. I do have some plants out there that I want to show y'all, so this part will probably be a voiceover. So we're gonna start off with the dead plants. This is some Fatsia japonica cuttings that obviously didn't survive. And then right here I have my ponytail palm, who also didn't survive. This is also a lettuce propagation that also died. But here is some catnip that I'm growing for my plants. Oh, not my plants, my cats. And here is some cacti that I don't know the identifications of. So if y'all know, let me know in the comments. This one is a prickly pear cactus, and I don't like it because it always gets so many spines on me, so I'm probably gonna get rid of it. This is an opuntia cactus that I do like, and I've had for a while. I literally got it like at the beginning of my plant collection, and it was like those tiny little cacti you see in the stores. Under everything, I have 2 hostas that I've also had for a while. This one is lighter in color and gets smaller leaves, and this one gets bigger leaves and I believe is a little bit darker in color, but I really need to repot them. But that completes my balcony plant, and now I gotta freaking climb back over to get inside. Alright guys, and now we're going to be going through all of the plants in my room. So we're gonna start with the shelf that y'all always see behind me. Down here we have my Gopertia Warsowixii. These plants are super velvety and they get purple backsides, which are super cute. And me and this plant have gone through a journey together. As y'all can tell, we had our little issues, but this is her most recent leaf and it is literally pristine. So I hope she keeps up the good work. I have her in a self-watering setup. She has a lot of roots in there, so she's really loving it. She also has a little spider friend that lives in here, and she eats the fungus gnats for me. She's almost back to the same size as she was when I first got her, so I'm happy about that. But right behind her, we have a little baby Scindapsus argyrius propagation. But right behind her, we have my variegated Maranta kerchoveana, or part of it, because I have more of it. This is just a propagation as well. Look at that variegation. So she put out these 2 half-moon leaves, which are so pretty. Right next to her, we have my epipremnum marble queen. And ever since I repotted this girly, maybe a couple months ago, she has just been growing really nicely for me. Look at this variegation, like, so pretty. And then there's this little baby in here that's literally like snow queen vibes, and there's some really pretty variegated leaves over here as well, and she is just doing really freaking good, and I'm so proud of her progress. Right next to her, behind all my string of hearts, which we will get into in a moment, we have my Syngonium pink illusion, and she is doing really good. She's putting out a new leaf, as y'all can see. And she is also in a self-watering setup. You could see some of her roots down there. I haven't seen too much in a difference of her growth with the self-watering setup. It's definitely helped with the leaves unfurling, because I used to have a problem of them not unfurling because I think I was inconsistent with her watering. But she hasn't necessarily like gone crazy in the self-watering setup like some of my other plants. One day I hope she's big enough to where I can grow her up a moss pole or like a trellis, because I think that would be really pretty. Since she's in the way already, we can talk about my string of hearts. So she's getting pretty long and I think I want to repot her, but unfortunately my freaking cats broke into my room while I was camping. I don't know how. I think the door wasn't completely closed, but they attacked my string of hearts. So this was literally like ripped out of the soil. But yeah, I just definitely want to repot this and give it a better home because it definitely hasn't been as happy. Yeah, I need to do something about her. Right next to her, we have my philodendron silver stripe, and she's doing pretty good. I took cuttings from her not that long ago, and I do have her cuttings down here in a propagation box, but we will get into those momentarily. But yeah, she just lives in this Baskin-Robbins cup that I've turned into a pot. Definitely need to dust her, but she's chilling. Right next to her, we have my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I grew from a wet stick. And this one I'm growing as like a trailing plant, which I don't know if the tetrasperma is necessarily gonna love that, but I mean, she's still growing consistently, giving me new leaves. She's literally putting out some right now. And yeah, I just really love how she looks growing like this. And I grew this from my very first time wet stick propagating, so I'm really happy that she's still with me. Right next to her, we have my epipremnum pearls in jade, I'm pretty sure. For the longest time, I thought it was a mandula because that's what it was sold to me as at Walmart. But of course, it's Walmart, so I'm not surprised it wasn't the correct identification. But yeah, she's doing really well. I really love how unique the leaves are on these epipremnums. She's putting out tons of new growth for me. But I think I want to put this one on a moss pole eventually because I think it would just be so cool to get these leaves even bigger just because of how unique the variegation is. And I've never really seen people grow this up a moss pole. Right above her, we have my Monstera siltivicana that I just got in my trade with Plants Locks book, and it is still acclimating to my home. There are some sad leaves back here, but for the most part it's doing okay. I think I do want to repot it because I don't know if I trust the soil that it's in. And I also want to put her on a moss pole as well because I want to get these leaves bigger and bigger, and also I want to see them fenestrate because they can fenestrate or whatever. Right behind her, I have another Scindapsus argyrius, and this one has like different variegation from the other ones that I've shown you, because the other ones, the silver is like on the outside of the leaves, and this one, it has like that pattern, and there's still like silver on the outside of the leaves, but like on the other ones it looks different, you know, like the silver comes from the tip of the leaves. I just have her permanently living in water, and I do occasionally put some fertilizer in here, and yeah, she just put out some new leaves, so I'm happy that she's still, you know, growing, and I'm probably gonna let her live in water for her whole life. Right next to her, I have my Hoya gracile, I think. I used to think it was a pubic calyx because that's what it was sold to me as well. But then I posted a TikTok online, and someone else who knew more about Hoya said that it was Hoya gracile. And I used to have it on my windowsill, but it was getting burnt because it couldn't handle the sun. But I am eventually gonna put her in my mini greenhouse, but I just don't have space in there right now. So for now, she is in this cute little cat pot that I got from my sister. Right here we have my philodendron Brazil, and she is so beautiful. I grew this girly back from the dead, honestly, because I got her off of Etsy. She came, you know, decently sized, but I put her in a place that I forgot about her in, and a lot of her died except for one vine. And from that one vine, I grew it out, propagated it, and she is growing really nicely, doing really well, giving me tons of new growth, and I'm just super proud of how far she has come because she's like a full-on plant now. Right here, I have some philodendron micans propagations. I'll be showing y'all the mother plant later in this video. And then right next to her, I have my philodendron or nestii that I recently put on this moss pole, and she's putting out some new leaves for me right now. So I'm super excited to see what they're gonna look like when they're finished unfurling. Right next to her, we have my epipremnum cebu blue, and she is doing really good and growing out the moss pole. She is nice and rooted into there, and yeah, she's just putting out tons of new leaves lately, and they are definitely starting to size up. She's even growing on the wall back here. I need to attach this to the moss pole, and the main goal of putting her on the moss pole is so that I can get some fenestrated leaves, so hopefully I can achieve that. Look at this leaf, y'all. It is so golden, and of course it comes from my epipremnum aureum, who I love so much. I got this one the same time I got my marble queen, and she has definitely grown the most, and I'm just so in love with the variegation on her because I just feel like I have one that has really good variegation. But unfortunately the other day I accidentally ripped like a part of the plant out of the pot because I was trying to rip off an old leaf. So this is the part that I accidentally pulled out of the pot. It came out pretty easy, so maybe the root system was dried up anyways. But yeah, I'm just rooting it in water, and I plan on planting it back in here with the mother plant. Up next, we have my boyfriend Ezra's Monstera deliciosa, and she is growing on a moss pole. We need to tie this up, but she just put out this new leaf, and y'all, it is massive. And hopefully her next leaf will have some more mature fenestration where, you know, it starts fenestrating in the middle, because that would be really cool to see. Right down here we have that mother plant Scandapsis argyrius I was talking about, and if she looks a little sad, it's because unfortunately she was another one of the plants that my cats attacked while we were camping. So we came in and she was literally knocked over on the floor, so she was upside down for I don't know how long. For the most part, she seems to be doing okay. She is just losing a couple of leaves from that stress, but she's also putting out new leaves. Right next to her, we have my philodendron bipennifolium, who I put on a moss pole not too long ago, and she's doing really good. She's just put out some new leaves recently. There's some new growth down here as well on the other vine, and even on the little baby propagations I potted in here with her. Right next to her, we have my spider plant, and this was honestly the first house plant I ever had because I used to live with roommates, and one of them got a spider plant and didn't take care of it at all, so I started taking care of it. She hasn't made babies for me yet at all, but I hope she will one day. Right next to her, I have a epipremnum jade. So basically these are all the green cuttings that I took from my epipremnum marble queen, and they're doing really good. Sorry, she's a little dusty. Please ignore that. She's not even a little, she's a lot dusty. Right behind her, we have some more of my boyfriend's plants. Right here, we have a Calathea ornata, I'm pretty sure. She's chilling. She's put out like 2 leaves in our care. She honestly doesn't do too much, but she's not like dying or anything either, so. And then right next to her, we have this dracaena marginata, I think. I used to have one of these plants, but it unfortunately is not with us anymore. But yeah, he got this plant for free at IKEA, I'm pretty sure he said. I think it's grown a little bit. But yeah, all right, let's go ahead and go through my propagation boxes really quick. So in here, I have more of those Scandapsis argyrius cuttings that I was talking about. And then I also have a little baby philodendron ernestii wet stick that put out this cute little leaf. And I think it's putting out another leaf right now. Right next to her, I have some epipremnum cebu blue wet sticks, and they just put out these tiny little baby leaves. Back here, we have a rhaphidophora hei cutting, and then I also have a philodendron pink princess node back here. We'll see if anything becomes of this. I cut this off my mother plant. That's everything that is in this one. Right here in this like Easter egg propagation box, I literally just have a bunch of philodendron hederaceum cuttings in here that I took off my mother plant, and they're all putting out a ton of little baby leaves, and they're super cute. And right here I have my philodendron silver stripe cuttings, and so far seem to be doing really well. They have some cute variegation on them. I think this is a new leaf right here. And yeah, I'm just super excited to see what these cuttings turn into. But that does it for my propagation boxes. Next up, we're going to talk about my Monstera deliciosa, who I have growing up a trellis. And she is much smaller than my boyfriend's, but she is still doing pretty good. But I did recently air layer this one, so if you have not seen my air layering video, maybe you want to check that out. But here's a little update for those who have seen it. So the aerial root grew a ton and literally grew out of the air layering thing. So I'm just waiting for it to grow some more secondary roots before I take off the moss and take the cutting. But yeah, so far she's doing really good. All right, now we're gonna go through the side of the room. Y'all don't really see that often. So first up, we have my blue star fern, and she's doing really well. I got her at Park Rose Hardware. She is my only fern in my collection, and so far so good. She's put out a couple new fronds or whatever, and she's putting out a ton of new growth right now, so I'm pretty sure I'm doing a good job so far. And I just can't wait until this plant is a lot bigger, because I think the mature versions are so beautiful. Next up, we have my Aurelia philodendron, which I feel like is an underrated plant. It is a type of tree and it's just so pretty. Mine is the variegated version, so it has some white variegation on these leaves, and she's currently putting 3 leaves out at once per branch, so I'm really happy about that. She's really matured after I put her into a self-watering setup, and as y'all can see, there are tons of roots down there. She is really loving it. Like, I can't wait until I have like an actual tree of this, you know. Next up, we have my beautiful Camposportoanum. She is so pretty. These leaves are so big, and I'm currently air layering her because I actually do plan on cutting her. Originally, I was just gonna leave her how she is because I did air layer the moss pole just to help it stay more moist because it's a really thin moss pole and it dries out so often. Once she roots a bit more up here, I do plan on cutting her. I'll probably do it after the move as well, just so she has an easier time acclimating. I'm really excited to regrow this on a better moss pole that's not gonna dry out as fast, so then she can have like a more permanent setup where I can get those really mature leaves. Next up, we have my Monstera adansonii, and she is on a moss pole, and y'all, she is doing so freaking good. Like, just look at her. She has grown so much. These leaves are so big, literally bigger than my entire hand. And I'm just so happy that I put her on a moss pole. She's doing super well, and I can't wait to watch her continue to mature up it. I did extend the moss pole not too long ago, and she's already starting to get close to the top. So yeah, she's definitely going to be a really tall plant, and I'm just super excited for the future. Yeah, I definitely want to get more vines to go up the moss pole because she only has like one main big vine. I want it to be more full up here, but you know, she's still really beautiful and doing really well. Next up, let's talk about my philodendron Burley Marks. She is super beautiful. I also have her on a moss pole. Look at all of these leaves. She's really loving the moss pole. She's been on it for quite a while. Unfortunately, she's not really like giving me any super big leaves, but honestly, I don't really mind because I just love how she's growing up the moss pole. The leaves honestly do look like they're maybe starting to size up, so maybe she'll start giving me some bigger leaves soon. Next up, let's talk about my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. She is also on a moss pole that I just recently extended, and she's starting to get pretty big, giving me some more mature looking leaves. Some of the newer leaves have some damage because I think maybe she was getting overwatered and like the leaf cells would explode or something, because it would happen on just like random parts. That's my guess, or maybe it's bacterial spots, but she's still doing really good nonetheless, and she has grown so tall up this moss pole, and I'm just loving the bigger leaves that she's giving me. Look, this is what I was talking about. See, like random parts of the leaf will just like die, so I don't know if she's getting overwatered or something, or maybe it's just like too much water sitting on the leaves. Nonetheless, she's still looking really beautiful and doing really good. Here is my philodendron pink princess, and she's just looking so cute these days. She has 3 vines growing for me right now because I did chop her recently, and she literally shot out 3 different growth points, which was so amazing and so cute to watch. And yeah, she's been, you know, keeping up that pink variegation. Like, look at this leaf, so pretty. And each of the new leaves have at least some pink on it. She did give me a half moon back here, super cute. And she is currently putting out some new leaves, so I'm super excited to see what the variegation is going to look on that. This one is like kind of stuck, but it's like about to come out. But yeah, she is just looking really good these days, and I'm super excited to watch her continue to grow up the moss pole. Honestly, I think pink princesses have come down in price, so if you really want one, you should get one because they're really pretty. Right behind my headboard is where I have my Scindapsus trubii moonlight living. I have her growing up a trellis, and so far she is really loving it. I showed her in my favorites video, so if you have not checked that out, I definitely recommend watching that video. But yeah, she is really freaking pretty, and I just love how far she has come. And then right next to her, I have my philodendron hastatum. She's doing really good. This is her newest leaf, and the leaves are still sizing up, which I'm really happy to see. So hopefully we will have a mature leaf shape soon. And I'm just super happy with how she is growing up the moss pole. On my windowsill, I do have a Hoya retusa growing, and she's currently growing up my light fixture, and honestly, she has kind of been through it. She was accidentally knocked over, and my cats, when they broke into the room, this was another plant that they messed with. They messed with this tendril right here, but I really want to get her a proper trellis because she really loves to look for stuff to climb and attach to. And now let's move on to my little plant shelf over here. So up first we have my rickrack cactus, and I repotted her recently and she is doing really well. I think she really appreciated it. I think she is a bit thirsty right now though, but she's doing really well. She has tons of new growth and I just really love how she is turning out. Right next to her I have my philodendron white wizard. This is her newest leaf right here, and it just looks so cute, and it looks like more white wizard-esque because I feel like they have like fat round leaves when they're like more mature. I just love the variegation on this plant, and I got it as a tiny little baby, so I'm just really happy that it's still here with me and continuing to grow. It used to live in my mini greenhouse, but I took it out not that long ago, and so far it seems to be growing a lot faster. Right next to it, I have my philodendron micans, who is getting so long, so beautiful. And I rotate her around every so often so that she can grow equally. And she is pretty full in the pot, so I'm just letting her grow out because I just really want a nice full pot of trailing micans because I just think it is so pretty. And yeah, I think I'm achieving that so far. She has tons of new leaves coming in, as y'all can see from the different colors. And I just love how she looks. Right here, we have my Scandapsis exotica, I believe, and she is doing really well as well. She is super full. As y'all can see, she starts from up here and she goes all the way down, keeps going, and this is where she's at so far. So yeah, I just really love how long she is getting, and this is just a super pretty plant to have. Right behind everything, y'all can see my Anthurium forgetii, and she is currently putting out a new leaf. She is really sizing up. Here's a view from the other side, and just look at all the roots that are growing in there. She is also in a self-watering setup. This was the last leaf she put out, and it is just so beautiful. It is literally like the size of my head. So I'm assuming this new leaf is gonna be just as big, if not bigger. And yeah, here are some of her older leaves, and I just really love how this plant is turning out. And I'm probably gonna repot her soon and put her in a bigger self-watering setup. If you have Anthurium, I really recommend to put them in something that is self-watering because they just freaking love it and their roots grow like crazy. Next up, we have my philodendron mayoi, and I got this plant off of OfferUp. So I got it off someone locally, and it was only $5 for the cutting, which was a really good deal. And here is her newest leaf. It is so cute. I love how this little baby leaf looks, and I'm just super excited to watch her continue to grow and mature because they look really cool once they're more mature. Here's a Camposportuanum cutting that I have grown out, so it's like a full-on plant, and I'm actually doing a giveaway for this right now. So if you have not entered already, please go ahead and go to the giveaway video and enter there if you want a chance to win this plant. Right behind her, we have my boyfriend Ezra's epipremnum aureum, and she is just growing down the side right here, and she is super cute, and she's growing in a Cafe Bustelo coffee tin, whatever you call that. Right next to the philodendron mayoi, I have a philodendron ernestii cutting that I just recently potted up, so I'm excited to watch it grow in. And right next to that, I have a mini phalaenopsis orchid that I got at Lowe's not too long ago, and it was on clearance. So I was like, I want to get it because I used to have an orchid, but unfortunately I accidentally rotted it. But I know where I went wrong, so I think I'm going right with this orchid so far. It is putting out a new leaf right now in my care, and I'm just super happy that it seems to be a lot happier. I have it in the proper medium this time. Last time I kept it in the moss, and then I put it in my greenhouse cabinet, so it stayed moist for way too long. But yeah, she has really cute green flowers, and I just love how they look. Right next to her, I have some philodendron bipenifolium cuttings, and they're just growing in and doing really well. And then right next to them, I have a tin with Fatsia japonica seeds that I planted in there for a plant chores video, and so far nothing has sprouted up. Right down here near the bottom of the shelf, I have my alocasia amazonica poly, and y'all, look at these new leaves. They're so big, so beautiful, and I'm really proud of how far this plant has come. I literally grew it from a one leaf club and I repotted it. Here's another new leaf. And yeah, I'm just super proud of this plant, and I just love how big it is getting. This is a plant that everyone like tells you not to get because they say they're spider mite magnets, but honestly, I haven't gotten spider mites on this in such a long time. Knock on wood. Back here, I have a philodendron trio star, I believe it's called. Philodendron, I meant Calathea trio star. No, Stromathe trio star. Oh my god, what am I saying? And I put her in a self-watering setup, and so far, I don't know how well she is actually doing. She seems a little unhappy, but hopefully she will start growing in some more roots and become a little happier. She does have a dying leaf, just ignore that, but anyways. Next up, we have my friend Leann's Rhaphidophora. This is another one of her plants I have been babysitting, and it's doing pretty good. It has tons of new little vines that have grown out. This is what the other side is looking like, and yeah, she's just chilling, living her best life the best that she can. And then next up, we have my mother plant, variegated maranta kerchoveana. She is folded up right now, and ignore this leaf that she is losing, but y'all, look at these new leaves. Look at how pretty that is. I am so proud of this plant, and I'm glad she is starting to give me some new leaves, and hopefully I'll get some more half moon leaves like on the baby plant, because imagine a half moon leaf this big, you know? Let's get rid of this. There we go, much better, right? Next up, we have my alocasia black velvet, and she is doing really good. This is her newest leaf, and she already has another new leaf on the way, so I'm super excited to see what it's gonna look like. I do have her living in a self-watering setup, and as you can tell, she is just loving it. Look at all those freaking roots. And yeah, she's living her best life. And I have her living up here with the rest of these plants, and she gets tons of light from that grow light. She is my only other alocasia besides my alocasia poly, so I definitely want to step up my alocasia game. Next up, we have my epipremnum neon. She is so beautiful. I got this a little bit after I got my other ones. And yeah, she's starting to trail, which I'm really happy about because she's really come a long way. I got her as just a little baby as well. Next up, we have my Thomatophyllum sprucianum, and she is doing really good. This is her newest leaf, and it is so beautiful. Hold on, let me take her down so y'all can get a better view. Like, just look at her, y'all. The new leaf is still hardening off, so that's why the leaves look all skinny. But here's another recent leaf, and as y'all can tell, it is super beautiful. So it is just super fun watching this plant size up and just start to get bigger and bigger. And I'm super happy that she's really happy, and she just chills right here. Next up, we have my philodendron hederaceum, and this is my big mama plant. I've had this plant for so long, like since the start of my plant collection. So she is around 2 years old, and she has just grown so much and gotten so long. Like, she literally goes all the way down my plant shelf. And yeah, I'm just so in love with her, and since I potted her into this really big pot, she started putting out so many little baby vines, so I'm just super excited to watch these start to trail down as well. And yeah, she's just doing really well, giving me some really nice sized leaves, and I'm super happy to still have her in my collection. And yeah, she's just really freaking beautiful. Alright, and for the last segment of this houseplant tour, we're going to be going through my mini greenhouses, so let's get into it. And here we have tons of beautiful plants. So let's start off with my philodendron squamiferum. She's doing really well. Look at how big these leaves are. Yeah, she's definitely starting to give me some more mature looking shaped leaves, as y'all can see. And I'm just really excited for her to continue to grow and to continue to grow up the moss pole especially. As y'all can see, she is nicely rooted into there. And honestly, these philodendron root like crazy. There's like a little root that came all the way to the top of the moss pole right here. Speaking of, this moss pole has like this cute little grass growing on it, and also the freaking sphagnum moss has come back to life, which is really cool. And this is her newest leaf. I'm probably gonna move her out of here soon because, as y'all can tell, she takes up a lot of space. Yeah, I'll probably do that in the future, but for now, I'm just letting her live her best life in here because she freaking loves it. Right next to her, we have my Rhaphidophora decursus. aggressiva, and she's also doing really good. This is one of her newer leaves, and then this is her most recent leaf, and it's not as big, but I'm just glad that she's growing again, because honestly she wasn't growing too much for a while until I repotted her. She has tons of roots on the side right here, so I really want to grow her up a moss pole. Right down here in the undergrowth we have my peperomia prostrata, aka string of turtles, and she does pretty good in here. She's not super big or anything because I think I need to give her more light to do that, but she's definitely enjoying life and just loves growing on the bottom, and she's just super cute, and I've had her for a while, and I literally grew her from a tiny little baby, so I'm just so happy with how far she has come. Right next to her I have my nepenthes plant, aka a pitcher plant, and they are so beautiful. I feel like they're really underrated, and basically these plants like to create these little pitchers, or aka little traps that attract flies, and they eat the flies to get their nutrients, so that's what makes them carnivorous, and they really help with fungus gnat problems if you have them. And she actually has a baby in here that she grew herself, and it is also putting out pictures. Yeah, she wasn't putting out pictures for the longest time until I put her in the mini greenhouse. So if you have a nepenthes that hasn't made pictures in a while, I really suggest amping up the humidity as well as the light. Right next to her we have my philodendron subhastatum, and she is so beautiful. I'm growing her up a moss pole as well, and she has definitely rooted into it, which I'm really happy to see. And I've literally grown this from like the tiniest little wet stick, because I ordered this plant off Etsy and it was like a big mature plant, but it snapped at the base unfortunately. So I propagated everything and left the base of the plant to see if anything would grow, and this is what has grown from it because I kept that for myself. And yeah, she's doing really good. This is her most recent leaf and it's so pretty. And if y'all didn't know, these are popular for having those red backs or whatever. Right behind her we have my philodendron burley mark fantasy. Let me get this leaf out the way so y'all can see her. Just like, look at her, y'all. She is so beautiful. And this is a shingling philodendron, if you couldn't tell already. And yeah, she's really loving the moss pole as well. You can see some roots back there. I'm probably gonna have to take her out of here soon because she's starting to get to the top of the greenhouse box. But I probably won't do that until I move, because I don't want to, like, you know, stress them too much, because I'm going to be like moving to a whole new location or whatever. Next up we have my philodendron plowmanii, who just put out a new leaf. Wow, and this was her last leaf. It was also her biggest leaf. I used to think I had a philodendron mame, but turns out I have a plowmanii, and the difference between them is that the plowmanii has these ridges right here. So if you have a philodendron mame, I would suggest double checking it to make sure and see if it's actually a plowmanii. And I think I have like the silver cloud or whatever, because it's super silvery, as y'all can tell. These are crawling philodendron as well. Just look at all of those roots down there. I think I need to repot her because she even has roots coming out the bottom, and I'm gonna have to take her out of here soon as well. Next up we have my philodendron micans velvet halo. So this is a variegated micans variety, and just look at these leaves. I just love the little hint of white on them, and they also have like a lighter green variegation as well. This was the original leaf. It looks like parts of it are starting to die off, and she's also working on a new leaf right now, so I'm super excited to see that. I actually do plan on cutting this plant soon because I am doing a plant trade for some exciting plants or whatever, but I'm just really loving how she is growing out right now. So that completes my main mini greenhouse, which is my largest one, but now we're gonna go down to these smaller ones. These smaller ones are actually plants that I am growing for my plant shop. So if y'all didn't know, I am in the works of starting up my own little online plant shop or whatever, where I will be selling plants. Right now, I just have a ton of philodendron growing that I'm just gonna, you know, keep multiplying until I have a really nice stock that I can sell to y'all. But yeah, everything's doing really well and growing really nicely. Here's just like a little sneak peek to some of my inventory. And yeah, I'm just having a really fun time watching all these baby plants growing, and they're doing super nice. But that completes all of my plants. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you stuck around this far, please leave me a plant emoji down in the comments. Also, don't forget to leave me a like. I had a really fun time showing you guys all of my plants in their current state. And if this is your first time finding my channel and watching one of my videos, maybe you want to check out my other ones. And if you enjoy those as well, feel free to go ahead and click that subscribe button, because I mean, you're already here. And if you didn't already know, I'll be uploading plant content here every Wednesday and Saturday. So if you'd be looking for that, I got you. And I will see y'all on Saturday. Bye.